What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Backliners podcast. This time, of course, presented by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app and use code Backliners for a deposit match up to $100. It's Aggro and Barracuda as per usual. Barry,
hello.
We got some Smite 2 patch notes to talk about, but first I think it's better for us to start with some info relevant to the show. I posted on Twitter, in case y'all didn't see it, I am going to be moving back to Pittsburgh with my family. That's where my wife's family is, where my family is. Once you have a kid, you want to be around family. They help a lot with watching them and all that kind of stuff. I will still be working at high-res. Yeah, it's, on God, dude. It's crazy. I will still be working at high-res. Nothing's changing with my job. I'm just going full remote. Very thankful to high-res for them to be flexible with that sort of thing. And they've honestly, like, I would not say this if it wasn't true. Like, I've loved working at high-res, but a job is a job, a company is a company. They've got to look out for them. I've got to look out for me. That's how it works. But they have definitely gone above and beyond and letting, in approving this move and doing so very quickly, and then being very flexible with, I'm going to be taking 2 to 3 weeks off of work in order to get this move going, and it's a very busy time for us, and they've been really, really understanding and helpful, and, just want to, especially in the games industry right now, like, it is rare to be treated well by your employer, and they deserve a shout out when they do it. So very thankful to them. But that also means that we are going to be taking a break from the podcast. I'm going to be moving here.
It's me.
No, it's me. It is me for sure. I think we're planning for now to take off the month of June. I'm going to be moving in a few weeks. That gives us some time to get settled. But, we don't have a house quite yet. We're going to be moving in with my parents, or my mom, and then looking for a house and moving again whenever we find the right place. So my next few months are kind of up in the air. I do not foresee us going on a multi-month hiatus, but I think it is very safe to assume that we will not be having any shows in June. And then maybe sporadically after that, depending on what my schedule is, or maybe someone will fill in for me, who knows. More Smite 2, goodness will be happening around that time. So there will be a lot to talk about, but we think it's just best for us and for the, we know that it's been a little bit of a content drought for the show at times, and, distance makes the heart grow fonder, et cetera, et cetera. We think it'll be best for the show and for us to get a little break and then come back once I am more settled and have some renewed vigor. So I will be pausing our Patreon subscriptions. I think that means you won't be new subscriptions. You can't sign up when it's paused, and those who are patrons will not be charged during that time. Don't want to be charging people when we aren't making content, but our Patreon Discord will still be active. I'll probably give it a week or so before I shut it down, so if you want to be a part of the Patreon Discord, it's a really cool group. It'll be the best way by far to get in contact with me, because I won't be on Twitter much, hopefully, during that time, or the same with Barra. So patreon.com/backliners if you want to get in on it, but to be transparent, not going to be creating any content for at least a month, so just wanted to give a heads up there. With all that being said, Barry, it's time to talk about Alpha Weekend 2. It's already around the corner. We had our patch notes show for it today, and got to talk about a lot of fun things. Mostly, it's going to be a lot of bug fixes, a lot of adjustments, did a lot to the map to help slow games down, or speed games up, excuse me. They were taking too long. Things like making Fire Giant and Gold Fury easier to kill, increasing some golden experience in places, kill rewards, some bug fixes that'll make a big difference there. But I think the big things are the new items, and some item shifts, and the new gods that are being added. Hades and Soul jumping in. Let's start with gods, shall we?
Sure.
And let's start with Soul, because Hades is a little more wild. Soul, I meant to give you a shout out today on the patch note show, Bear. I meant to watch Pon hit a 2 and then ult and then go, oh nice, we kept the Barracuda combo. I was hoping to do that, but then forgot.
Bro.
But she still does have the Barracuda combo. Don't worry.
Does it feel as clean as it does in Smite 1?
It's cleaner. And I mean that sincerely. The ult feels significantly better. There have been a lot of... Pon spent a lot of time using Soul ult and Smite 1.
I'll be the judge of that.
Yeah, let us know. It will feel a little different, so your initial reaction might be it feels worse, but keep in mind that you're fighting against muscle memory. Give it a couple games and then let me know if it feels worse.
It is really funny that I'm able to play this release and you guys release Soul.
Yep. We knew. I asked when you were going to be available. We shifted the whole schedule. It's a whole thing.
I can't wait to only play one character for an entire day.
Yep. Dude, everyone's just lucky Jing Wei's not in, that would be the real moment.
If you guys release Soul and Jing Wei in the same patch just for me,
we'd call it Barracuda's Alpha Weekend. That's just what it would have been.
Put Fatalis on both characters and just let me have a weekend.
Yeah.
Let me have a nice, relaxing weekend where I just killed everyone.
We could. We won't, though.
Okay.
Soul doesn't get quite as many crazy changes as some other gods, like Hades, that we're about to go over. But some that feel really good. Again, the ultimate feels much better, I think. You now gain heat when you hit strikes from the ultimate. So before the ult, in Smite 1, you actually got, basically no heat from casting this ability. It was very low. Now, if you hit... I think you only need to hit, 3 strikes of it. On gods, you will be at max heat.
But also, you should not be using this ability, as a Soul professional.
No, of course not. But there are certainly times where you're jumped on or something like that, and you just got to use it for CC immunity, whatever it may be.
Yeah, and you're not feeling good about those times.
No,
but
you sure?
That is nice. That is actually really nice that it gives you heat. Because if you're in that situation where they jump on you, you just blow your ult, get the CC immunity, and then you can use the rest of your kit.
Yep.
And so you should be able to do a lot more damage. That is a nice change. I like
it. Disapparate, her AO3, now has the detonation of the trail once again. It doesn't stun like it did in Smite 1, but it does do damage, and it does a lot of damage. It's 75% intelligence scaling on the explosion. It's 60 to 300 plus 75%. And each tick is already 100 plus 25%. So that detonation does... I've been, crushed by it in playtests and been like, yo, where did that come from? But that feels good again to have that back and was, a cool mechanic.
I remember if you're against, I guess, Fenders in beta, you just max your 3 second and you will just toast them.
You will crush him, for sure. That is definitely going to be a possibility. But you might not want to max at 3 second. Actually, does cooldown still go down? No, it doesn't. You might want to max the 1. This is where the newest mechanic comes for Soul. The size of your 1, the circle, grows based on how much heat you have. And it gets to be really big. Bigger than... I think it's slightly bigger than Poseidon Whirlpool when you're at max heat. It's still on top of you only, but it is not before in Smite 1, you'd get a tick or 2 of damage if someone's on top of you, and then the fight would kind of carry you out of it. If you are at max heat and someone, Fenrir jumps on you, and you press 1, he will get hit by almost the full thing on the way out. It goes off a little faster and grows to be pretty big. And if you watch the patch notes show, I literally lost my mind. I didn't know Pon had done this. No one else will be nearly as excited about it as I am, or any of the other designers. It was really funny. all the designers at the on the podcast or like in the set were like, "Oh my god, that's so sick." I'm sure no one in chat thought it was that cool, but if you have max heat or any amount of heat and you have your targeter up, it'll show you how big it is. It's dynamic, and then as your heat decreases, it will shrink with your heat decreasing in real time. That's
cool.
Magic. It's like, I have no idea how Pon did that. That is so complicated. But that's why he's the GOAT. So I think that Radiance change will make a big difference. And a big reason why we didn't feel like she needed a huge overhaul is because the item system working the way it does now already changes Soul's gameplay. Has the potential to change Soul's gameplay significantly. Being able to build crit on your basic attack damage increase passive character does a lot for you.
That's weird.
It opens up her build path. I have literally no idea what her best build path is.
I'll find it.
I believe you will. You're going to have to try. Here's what I'd try. I think these are the 3 auto builds I made for her. I would try crit. I would try in-hand proc, although Chin's got pretty hard gutted against squishies, so it might not be that good. But strength in-hand proc. I would try full mage, and I would try basic attack mage with things like Hand of the Abyss and some of the other like more attack speed focused items, and like Broggy's Heart. I literally do not know what her best build is, and I think that's really exciting. Like, that's the type of stuff that makes me want to play a lot of Smite 2, is figuring out these puzzles once again. Yeah, what are your initial thoughts in hearing the changes for Soul's kit as a Soul professional, Barry?
The one's obviously really cool. The rest of the kit's pretty much the same for me, pro player.
Yep.
Like top down, looking at it.
No, it for sure is.
I mean, as long as the Barracuda combo is still in it, and as long as you can max your 3 situationally and kill people,
yep.
Then she's always going to feel really good. And it just depends on her, I would say, objective to, or damage to objectives, damage to jungle bosses, how good she actually is, in my opinion, because I haven't gotten to test that or play Smite 2, which I'll be playing a decent amount of Smite 2 this weekend to test everything out. And I might get on Twitter and tweet my thoughts.
You should at least send them to me. It's kind of criminal we're not going to have a podcast right after you actually play Smite 2. Maybe we can sneak one in. We'll see how my loading of the pod goes next week and all that kind of stuff. We won't. I'm not going to promise that. But I am very interested in hearing your thoughts on it.
I also like, this is a little off topic.
Yeah.
That you guys are putting in, like, this immune state is damage immune, healing immune, CC immune, untargetable.
Yep.
Like, all of that stuff, all of the extra, like, tidbits of information.
Yep.
I always like that stuff.
Bro, the short description, long description tooltips on abilities is one of the best things from Smite 1 to Smite 2, and it is extremely game designer brain, and very few players, I think, are like you, Barra, who appreciate those things, but I'm glad some non-designers do, because it's been a ton of work. It will continue to be a ton of work, but I think it will be so worth it. Like, I love this feature and how detailed we can be.
Yeah, because if you're a noob, you just go to the short description, you're like, oh, this makes me not take damage and it do damage. Like, you don't need that much information, but if you really need to figure out what exactly one ability does, then you need to read basically everything about it. And I also like that it's not telling me a story.
Yep.
That was one of my big pet peeves from Smite 1. It didn't happen as much as, like, Smite 1 went on.
Yeah.
But I think it was, like, the early middle area of just the ability descriptions. I'm like, I do not have time for that. Like, I think it was, like, Cthulhu's abilities.
Baron Zombie starts the party by opening up his coffin. Like, yes, there was a time where we
this
were much
ability
more...
sucks and then it stuns. Like,
yeah. Yep. That is the case for Baron. Yes, there was a concerted effort to bring less flavor, particularly in the Smite 2 descriptions, but even when I joined the Smite 1 team. I will push back, though, on buff bar icons. I like those having flavor and not being super dry. Like,
buff bar icon.
Like when you have when you've got stacks of Bancroft's Talon, right, that are giving you increased power and lifesteal.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's cooler for it to be like Bancroft's Hunger or something, like, like whatever, and it's just like the claw grows stronger, like, and not saying increased power and lifesteal like on your buff bar if you're hovering it, because those are opt-in descriptions in my opinion, and not necessary ones. You just need to know I'm getting a benefit, and I don't need to be able to read exactly what that benefit is on that buff bar, and I can look on my item to see what that is and do some, extrapolation. I've been overruled on this many times. There are no flavorful descriptions like that in Smite 1 remaining or
I
Smite
can't
2.
believe they didn't let you do that.
Yeah. I remember when I did my first big patch in Smite 1 was Season 9 mid-season. I was in charge of like producing all of those items basically, and I was doing all of the tooltips for them, and I did a full pass, and I had lots of flavorful things like that, and then Clumsy was like, yeah, you have to change all of these. They can't, no flavor. And I was like, okay, but some, and he was like, nope, that's our standard now, and I had to go back and redo all
Only
of
salt
those.
and pepper.
That's
really crazy.
I know. He was probably right, but I still like this, but that's okay.
You should just start sneaking in like the random dash of flavor into certain abilities and just see if they catch it.
Yeah, there was almost certainly something I did once Clumsy had gone to Smite 2, and it was me and Lermy running the Asylum.
Once Dad left the house.
Yeah, like, I definitely did one or two things that I was like, yeah, I think Clumsy would tell me not to do this, but he's not here to tell me, so I'm going to do it anyways. Like, no, I don't think it was anything like that. It might have been like a balance change that we had talked about previously that he didn't like, but Lermy and I did, and then we were like, well, who's here to tell us no? But yeah, that's I don't know how we even got there. My brain is completely fried.
Can you press tab in Smite 2 and have, like, if I build kin size, will it tell me how much damage kin size done?
No.
Okay.
That is something we are hoping to do, but can't commit to.
Okay.
I would love that. I've been pushing for that since like day one for sure.
I was talking about that earlier. I was playing an assault game and I built sovereignty. And I was like, I just want to know how much healing sovereignty is given my teammates. And I had benevolence and sovereignty, and I was like,
Sure.
it would just be really cool to be able to like compare these.
Yeah, there are so many items that I've said over the years that, like, if you could see how much damage Oboe did, you'd buy it every game.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Even though a lot of it's fake, you would still buy it, like, every single game. Or, yeah, any effect like that, you just get so much value. And it's so helpful, it's so fun, like, yeah, hopefully we can find a way to make that system work.
And people love yellow numbers, so if you could know how much your yellow numbers were doing.
Yep.
I feel like it's just a big dopamine hit for everyone.
Yep.
Just see, you press tab every team fight, you go to your oboe, it's like 1.5k, and you're like, I'm building this every game.
Yep. 100%. That's the good stuff right there. Yeah, excited to see. I think Soul will be very good because even though we nerfed how much tower bounties are worth, like the drops that come off of towers, the early towers are still very big gold infusions, and she is by far, I think she's the best tier 1 tower killer in Smite 1 with 130 gods. She is absolutely the best tier 1 tower killer currently in Smite 2. So...
Were you finding more success playing her mid or ADC or?
I think I played her more as ADC. I think if I were playing in a comp, like if I were playing in the esports tournament that's happening, I
should be. With Soul being, I don't care if I
you
haven't
should
played
be,
the game
bro. They
in
should
like
be begging
8 months.
They should be begging you to show up for sure.
Soul release. If there's one character I can play after 8 months of barely playing Smite, it's Soul.
Bro, start hitting people up. Ven playing? Does he have a team? Hit him up.
Ven's not playing. I was talking. We've been playing Apex.
Does he know that Soul's out in this alpha? Should he reconsider maybe?
I don't think he knows. I might slide into his DMs afterwards.
Something to reconsider for him for sure. Yeah, I think I'd play her mid because when she gets an opportunity to hit towers, she takes them so quickly, and I feel like you just have more opportunities to hit mid tower than you do duo tower. Because you kind of need both people to back in duo to safely feel like you can push. I don't know. You could probably play her anywhere. I think she'll be very good. But not as good as Hades. Hades, a character I desperately love. I've been a damage Hades truther since I was forced to pick him up when I was picked up by Elevate in Season 2. And then we only played it in one scrim, and then it was like, yeah, I don't think Hades is that good, and I wanted to die. Because I'd spent 2 weeks playing nothing but Hades. And I've loved him ever since. Hated him before that. And a lot of really big improvements outside of one of the craziest +1s we've done for sure. His 3 now goes off much faster. It's like really quick. I don't know if
he raises that staff and just slams it down.
Yeah, it is like probably not exactly half the time, but it's probably like 60% of the time it took before. I could definitely get the numbers. I'm not gonna quit asking. It's really fast, and it feels really good.
Time it yourself.
Yeah, time it yourself. Don't ask me. And the person who's developed the game.
Who designed it?
No, there's another pawn work. I mean, at this point, the early gods were more individual, I think. Hades and Soul were really fleshed out fully after I had joined the team. So they're much and it just became more and more collaborative as more and more designers joined up. So a lot, like Ymir, Anhur, those are gods that it was just, hey, here's what they're doing in Smite 2, and obviously some adjustments were made, but these I was there to see the psychosis from the beginning. Another big thing about the 3 is that you know how one of the biggest pain points of Hades is you got to tell your team to stand in the wave but not kill the wave, but they have to be right on top of you in order to get the heal from the Blight detonation. Now, the Blight detonates, Hades gets healed instantly, but little wisps, kind of like Sylvanas, will go to nearby allies and heal them in a pretty big area around Hades. So it feels so much better, so much better. That's all I got. It feels so much better. Here's where things get a little crazy. When you use your ult, your Pillar of Agony, your 1 through 3 become off of cooldown. Even if you just use them, they're refreshed, and you can use one of your normal abilities in your ultimate. So if you use your dash, it brings your ult with you. And you have a set... the face Bear's making. And it has a set duration after you've used your leap. So if you leap the last second, you'll have a little bit longer. But if you leap right away, it'll be a shorter duration ultimate in total. It is really good. It's really good. He's lost a lot of things that he had in Smite 1 in his ultimate. I don't think it reduces his cooldowns anymore per tick. He doesn't get nearly as many protections. It's still a lot, but not as many. They aren't as debuffed in your ultimate, I believe, as they were, although this is still looking like a lot of debuffs.
Yeah, it is.
I think I would be surprised, and I was wrong on who the best god in the first Alpha Weekend was. I think AJ said today on the show that Anhur was the winningest Alpha 1 god, which I thought he was very good. I didn't think he'd be better than Ymir. I will be a little surprised if Hades is not the best character in Alpha Weekend 2. I could be very wrong. I am saying this with a lot of bias because I am a Hades player. Uh, I think he, if you know how to play Hades, he feels insane. He does fall off still in later game fights. Like, I think you do notice less survivability in your ultimate than you have in Smite 1. But, you just get to dash after them. Or you get to 3 them and heal off of it and heal your team off of it because they're blighted. And do burst damage. Or you can do, like, I had a cool moment in a playtest a few weeks ago where I got an on her who I know didn't have beads or ult, but did have jump, and I didn't want to have to leap after him because it would put me in a bad spot afterwards. So I just feared him inside my ult, and so he couldn't leap out, and he died. And that felt cool.
Did it?
It is really insane that you can use your one ult and then one again with the ult. That's a lot of ground you get to cover. But it's really fun.
Yeah, that seems insane to me. That seems insanely good.
Yeah, it's really
Hades
good.
has always been one of those characters that's just never really. He needs items to be really good, or at least he didn't Smite 1.
Yeah.
He needs to be in a meta where gods don't directly counter him. If CC immunity, ult are in the game, then Hades is just kind of bad. Or if like burst Hades can't be played, then he's bad. If lifestyle items are bad, then he can't be playing solo. And there's just a lot of things that he needs, and he's kind of always needed that. And now I think that is gone. It depends on Smite 2 builds,
Sure.
whether Hades just really takes over, but this change on paper looks ridiculous.
Yeah, it
That
is. It is very strong for sure. I think, just speaking for myself, not the rest of the team. It is hard to imagine us being able to put more power into a kit than this. Like, this is about as much as I feel like is reasonable to test the limits of how strong can we make a character in difference from Smite 1 to Smite 2. But I think that's exactly what this alpha is for. We aren't, if this, is so clearly unbalanceable, we can remove it, and we can find something else. And we are aware
honestly,
that that's a possibility, right? It's not like, would I sign that I think this is definitely balanced? Absolutely not. This might not be balanced at all, but it actually might be too, right? Like, there might be enough counterplay, and there might be knobs that we can turn. We do have a million different knobs to turn on this ultimate that we can take power away from it in ways to allow this to happen. And it's like, when you're talking about wow factor and holy crap, I gotta use that, like, it is perfect for that. And it doesn't feel out of place. So, I'm really, really interested in what's going to happen with Hades in this alpha weekend. I'm really excited for people to get to play with it. It's really fun. The first time it happens to you, you're like, wow, that is not fair. By a few times getting ulted, I did feel like I could have played it better. Or like I had options.
What about the second time?
Yeah, no, it felt better for me, but I'm also designer brain, so like, who knows?
Yeah.
But it is awesome. He's really fun to play.
I would honestly prefer to keep changes like this in, and then change the other parts of the ultimate. So
Sure.
he's not like, if you nerf the rest of his kit but keep his ult this way, then he would just be like really ult based and really ult focused, and I wouldn't like that. But if you nerf the rest of the kit, I think that makes it just a fun gameplay mechanic. And I'm saying that now, and I don't know if I'll be saying that in a few days.
Sure.
If I just get killed by Hades nonstop, because that guy is pretty good in Assault. Unfortunately, he
Oh
does.
no, we didn't think about how this affects him in Assault, guys. Let's back it up.
No,
Let's back it up.
Soul. He's good in
Oh,
Assault.
good in Assault. Oh, I thought you said
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
Assault. Oh, okay.
Well, he is good in Assault. He's good in both.
He's gonna be better in a if there is an Assault mode at some point.
There will be. There will be.
The healing is definitely better than it is in Smite 1. No, this shouldn't be that bad for Soul because Disapparate will get you out of the back end of his ultimate.
Yeah, I'll just always have my 3-up in every situation where the Hades needs to go.
Oh, okay. Well, he'll just always have his ult when he goes on you.
He will! He'll be focusing me!
Wait, but his cooldown's so much longer than yours, Bear. How is he allowed to always have it?
That's what I'll be asking you in Discord. Like, how does this guy always have his ult?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend building World Stone on Hades. That's the item that gives you reduced ultimate cooldown. You like that. Oh, I was going to mention this for Soul. Important note. Soul's basic attacks, even if you build strength, deal magical damage, right?
Oh.
She always deals magical damage. You can just build strength and get that increased strength scaling. When you go to build Pen on the crit or strength build, don't build Exi. It gives you physical Pen. You don't deal physical damage. You would buy something like Baylor's Eye, which is the just blanket magical pen item. That's what will make your basics deal more damage. It will feel a little weird building strength, int pen, or int and magical pen item, but that is what you want to be doing.
So for all the casual players out there, can you give like your most basic soul build? Or like a Smite
I wish I could pull up
soul build?
my editor so I could just read off my auto build. Well,
like
which build do you want? Do you want a hybrid? Do you want an ability based, or do you want strength? Like
just one for noobs. One for people like me.
Okay. Just use the auto. Sincerely, use the auto build. I made it.
Good?
Yes, I made it.
Oh.
We got to fix in.
If you made it, then it's perfect.
I mean, that's literally what you're asking me to do is give you the builds that I made as auto builds. We got to fix in so that buying and selling potions doesn't disable the auto build, which is great. So just use the auto builds, and they're descriptive. They'll say what the build type is and what they do.
Wait, so you can have auto buy into an attack or auto attack build?
There is a strength crit build that Soul has an option to auto buy. Yes.
That's cool. I didn't know that stuff existed.
Oh yeah, dude. When you load into Ymir, you've got your tank Ymir. That's like more not aura because there aren't auras, but like no active item support build. New player friendly. Then there's the active item heavy support build. And then I think there is an bruiser like ability damage
kind
like intelligence build. Yeah, or kind of like tank-ish jungle. And then there's crit Ymir, and it's literally exclusive for Ymir. And I think I wrote Ymir swing hammer, Ymir crit enemy go boom haha. That's I think my tagline for that. But yeah, we can do specific auto builds per character. Like Neith, I built like multiple ones for Neith specifically for her hybrid or her ability, and it literally says like this build makes your passive weaves and your unravel damage better. Like our systems are so much better for that kind of stuff.
That's really cool.
So yeah, they're specific for each character. And some are shared obviously, but I made one specifically for Soul that you can feel free to use. I made two maybe for Soul.
Okay, so if I play with Destiny, which one of us gets to play Soul?
Well, you can make a custom and play against each other, and both go soul.
She wouldn't like that.
Well, she could go
She
mid, and
would
you could
hate
go
that.
ADC.
She still wouldn't like that. I
Okay.
would rotate to her lane a lot and kill her.
Well, you wouldn't have to.
I would have to actually.
Wait, she could play Hades and you could play Soul, and then she could
No!
always have her ult. You know, like it's not so bad. It's not so
See,
bad.
it's a very realistic situation that the Hades will always have.
Well, in that situation, yeah.
For me.
Yeah, no.
Maybe she just coin flip and just go
Yeah,
back
just
and
coin
forth.
flip it.
Like
Just
she gets
alternate,
the soul game,
you
I
know?
just okay.
Yeah,
That's fine.
yeah.
I was thinking about being selfish and just playing soul the entire time, but
I hope you.
Cause
I hope you decide to stream some of your Soul games. I want. I want
I
to
will be.
watch. Oh, you will be.
I'll be playing either Friday or Sunday. Friday if I still have energy after work, and Sunday for sure.
Nice. Well, I will definitely be tuning in for those. That should be quite entertaining.
And if I get Hades ulted a lot, I will be staring into my webcam looking at you.
I won't be there.
Oh.
Won't be watching at that exact moment. But once you're not playing against Hades, then you will be. Look,
You're gonna snipe me and be the Hades.
Bro, yes, actually, I will. That sounds really fun. I wonder if I can. Okay, yeah, I've got ideas. I've got ideas for what I could do.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Before we move on to the rest of the patch, got to tell you about Prize Picks. What is Prize Picks? Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 5 million members. It is the most fun, exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You pick more or less on 2 or more player stats for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. For example, Barry, let's say theoretically I get against you in a playtest game later this weekend. Do you think I'll ult you with Hades more or less than 8 times that game?
More,
More,
for sure.
Correct. Yes, I was thinking about if people will get mad if I use dev cheats to reset my cooldown to do it out of your base. And I'm thinking that'll be fine.
That'd be fine. I wouldn't report you. I wouldn't tell anyone. I would just be, sitting in my chair very sad as I walk out of base and get Hades ulted by you over and over and over and over again.
Man, this is going to be a good weekend for me. Not only you can't actually play that game on Prize Picks. Maybe we can get that up there. We can't, by the way, and we won't even try, so don't look. But you can look for other things, like, we've got Counter-Strike's IEM Dallas, League of Legends Midseason Invitational just wrapped, and the Toronto Ultra Call of Duty Major. I think that's in early June, so just around the corner, so you can get amped up for that. Testing your skills on Prize Picks this season is the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250. In this basketball playoff season, the star players mean more on Prize Picks. So keep an eye out for starred players on the board, and you could receive a 10% payout boost if they're in your winning lineup. So get in on the playoff action and win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks as you and the world's best players take the game to a new level. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what makes Prize Picks the #1 fantasy sports app. So make sure you're checking that out. Download the app today and use code BACKLINERS for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, use code BACKLINERS for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, pick more, pick less. It is that easy. Shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's episode. All right, I think going over the individual buffs and nerfs not super useful for us. You can check all those out on smite2.com. Did a lot of efficiency shifts. Again, you can watch the patch notes show. You can come to our Dev Insight show tomorrow on the Smite Game channel, or you can read the patch notes for yourself. Let's talk about some of the new items, just to get some feelings on some effects here, Barry, because I know the stats won't mean quite as much to you in context, but there's a new item called Pendulum Blade. It's a strength and cooldown rate item, a luxury a little bit. 55 strength is a lot, and so it's 3,000 gold. It has an active ability to reduce your ability cooldowns by 3 seconds with a 3-minute cooldown. So temporal beads, but on a strength and cooldown item. Clumsy's really been pushing the cooldown rate on her agenda. He loves like splashing a little bit of cooldown in his on her build. I'm not quite sold on that yet, but getting you kind of do dump your 3 abilities pretty quickly in succession a lot of times is on her, and then getting 9 seconds off of your regular ability cooldowns all at once is a very potent effect, but feel definitely designed in mind for gods like Loki and Fenrir and those more assassin types that want that burst to come out quickly.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Feels like more of an assassin item than a hunter item.
Yeah, it definitely is.
I don't know if warriors can really build this. I'm not sure what warriors and tanks are building, or if they're able to afford this kind of luxury 3K gold item as a tank. But obviously, reducing your ability cooldowns by that much is a lot, but I don't think it'd be great on hunters. But it might be good on like soul.
Sure.
You just kind of dump all your kit and then instantly get it back.
Yep.
And that would kind of always feel nice. And then it would also make me a lot safer versus the Hades players that we'll be playing against.
Well, let me tell you about this next one, Barry. Staff of Mirrodin. The old Staff of Mirrodin. Active. Your next non-ultimate ability used will have no cooldown. Cooldown of 180 seconds. You might notice there's no penalty on this extra ability. You just get 2 of them. So you can Mirrodin, Soul 2, ult.
The new Barra combo.
The new Barra combo. It's the Barracuda. Like, the Barracuda. I don't know. We'll get there. This item is crazy. This item is nuts. Like, every interaction you think of feels stronger than the last. Here are my 2 favorites. I Mirrodin Hades 1, I regular Hades 1, I ult, and then I Hades 1 again in my ult, and bring the ult with me. I've dashed 3 times in 1.5 seconds or so.
You use Pendulum, and it's back in like 5 seconds.
Yeah, and then it's back up pretty quickly. Here's my absolute favorite one. Zeus Detonate, you might remember, no longer removes charges whenever you use it. So that you can keep up your basic attacks and keep your passive damage up and all that kind of stuff. It also stuns. And so you can just get 3 stacks on someone, Mirrodin, detonate, basic attack, detonate. And it's insane.
That is not pretty good.
It's
that sounds okay.
It's crazy.
Zeus just got buffed, I think. So
he did get buffed. Yeah. We'll see what it does. Again, I think the alpha, if we are overly, we obviously don't want to make the game unfun by releasing a whole bunch of unbalanced things. Gods, items, whatever it may be. But if we aren't pushing the envelope as much as we can now, what are we doing? This is the time to release things in their strongest state and scale back when necessary. I think this is a very good example, as is Hades, of would I feel comfortable releasing this in Smite 1? Probably not. But that's an established game with a competitive scene and, all that kind of stuff. This is an alpha where we're trying new things. Let's see how much we can push it. And I'm excited to see the feedback on it, one way or the other.
The more OP things, the better, in my opinion.
Yep.
Just because it gives you more toys to play with, and then also, if everything's OP, then nothing's OP.
Yep.
Because it turns into like, kind of just who can make the better play with the better, well, not a better item, but just a better play in general with all the OP items or gods that they're playing. So
yep,
I think that design perspective is fine.
I think there's no doubt that Smite 2's strength is higher than Smite 1. If you're talking about like a card game, like format strength, like Smite 2 has stronger things happening in it. But as long as all of the things feel stronger and still viable, then that's acceptable.
Yep.
And exciting. And I think that is what our players want. That's what the feedback we've been getting is. Isaiah in chat hits us with the Baratuda combo. That's unbelievable work from you, Isaiah. That's
Pretty
really
good.
Baratuda is awesome. And then when he misses it, it's Barrapuda. Like, yeah, we can't miss now.
Well, I don't miss.
Right. You better not, because otherwise I'm going to be spamming Barrapuda in your chat. Sphere of Negation is a just a niche item, or an item niche that we were missing that we wanted to add. No passive, just a strong stat stick of intelligence and magical protection. Good if you're getting gunned down by Hades. Typhon's Fang. This is a weird one, and I'm really interested to see what the perception of this item is, because it is 0 power or defense of any kind. There's no health, no protections, no strength, no intelligence. 2,700 gold, you get 150 mana, and 40% lifesteal. And you might be thinking, this has got to be terrible. And I'm going to tell you, I think it might be broken. I really think it might be, because lifesteal is so strong in Smite 2. And that's 2 reasons primarily. Number 1, lifesteal is automatically ability lifesteal. There's no difference. You buy lifesteal, you get lifesteal on your abilities and your basic attacks. Also, there's no AoE coefficient. So if I hit, in Smite 1, let's say I've got 50% lifesteal, which I think is overcapped, but stay with me. You got 50% lifesteal, and I Zeus alt gods only. And I hit 2 gods for 200 damage each time. You would think, naturally, I've got 50% lifesteal, I did 400 damage total, then I should heal for 200. But Smite 1 has an AoE coefficient, so any ability that can hit more than one target, you get 33% of your lifesteal value. So it really heavily nerfs that. In Smite 2, you heal for less off of minions, very similar to what we ended up doing in Smite 1. But you heal for full value of your lifesteal on gods, and there's no AoE coefficient. So if I do 500 damage to gods in Smite 2 with 50% lifesteal, I heal for 250. Think about an Anubis 1 hitting multiple people, or an Anubis ult hitting multiple people, or a Hades ult hitting multiple people, and how much lifesteal you could get really quickly. It feels insane to charge 2,700 gold for no offensive or defensive stats, but lifesteal is a defensive stat, right? It keeps your health high. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it'll be good enough. We play tested this with intelligence on it. We really wanted a high lifesteal item because it was one of the number 1 requests that we got from Alpha Weekend 1. And we really felt like putting any amount of intelligence on this made it instantly OP. So this is another experimental item, in my opinion. Let's see what the purchase rate looks like. Are people interested in this item? Does it win? How does it interact with getting anti-heal? Because that's the thing. If you see an enemy with Typhon's Fang and you don't build anti-heal, I actually think they might be unkillable if they're playing well and they can hit multiple people with every cooldown. That's obviously a lot to ask. They're not functionally unkillable. But, think about Zeus, like hitting a big chain lightning, dropping his ultimate, hitting a detonate. 40% lifesteal, you can heal for like 1,000 easily with that amount of damage. I think you truly need anti-heal against this. And I would highly advise all of our podcast listeners, if you see a Typhon's Fang on the enemy team, build an anti-heal item. You don't even have to do it all the way. You can get the Ruinous Tier 1 component. And that will do a lot of the time for the time being. But yeah, this one is really one of the more interesting items that we're releasing, and I'm really excited to see what it does.
Yeah, releasing this item with Hades and Soul coming out is obvious that this item will be built a lot, because lifesteal, or those 2 characters love lifesteal, and then having this item in the game, I think on paper it looks a little questionable, but as long as you're dealing a decent amount of damage, and that's fine. If it doesn't take the slot of any like important items, and then both those characters, it's so easy to hit multiple people with. So
yeah, just think about like a 2 on Soul. Like, how much do you think your 2 is hitting for at 4 or 5 items? Like, if you on two non-frontliners. Like, you're probably hitting them for what, like 450 each?
Yeah.
So that's 900. Yeah. 40. You're getting 40% of 900 on your head.
That's a lot.
That's a lot, for sure. But it is such an intense trade-off. You get no offensive stats from it. None. Or true defensive stats, because you need to hit, like, in order to do it. So I don't know how receptive the community will be to this type of item design. We debated it a lot internally on what the right direction is for it. And yeah, I'm excited about it because I'm just interested in what happens. Maybe it's not nearly as good as I think. Who knows? You know, it is losing an item slot for 2,700 gold is a lot for sure.
Yeah, it depends on anti-heal, and then depends on how good the rest of your build can be with that item.
Yep. But even anti-heal, like this was a big part of our discussion, was yes, anti-heal does partially counter it, but if I've got 40% anti-heal on me and I've got 40% lifesteal, I'm only getting 40% anti-heal, but if I hit two gods with things, then I'm really getting 80% lifesteal off of the damage I'm doing. So I'm not full countered by it. Like, it's an interesting dynamic that is cool. Breastplate of Valor, again, a high request to bring a frontliner item with high cooldown rate and physical protection. They didn't really have a cheap option for this. Now has a new passive, a passive on base breastplate for the first time. When you lose 400 plus 30 times your level HP, your ability cooldowns are reduced by 1 second, and there's no ICD. But this is, I think, I can say this because it wasn't my idea. I think this is a really intelligent design, really clever, because this passive matters a lot less for squishies who pick this up, because taking 400 flat HP times their level means that they can't really stay in the fight, right? They're getting cooldowns back, but that's such a big chunk of their health. But if you build this and build a lot of HP from items, then you can get more of these passive procs over the course of a fight.
Mm-hmm.
So if I've got 2,000 HP, it can really only proc twice, and then I'm dead. If I have 4,000 HP, then it can proc a lot more. So it's got built-in synergy with tanks in a way that I think is pretty cool.
Is that just proccing permanently then, I'm assuming? Just every time...
It just tracks your HP. Every time you lose the set amount, it triggers and starts at 0 again.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of like Xbalanque passive, where it just counts your counts your damage until you hit the threshold, and then it banks that and starts again at 0. It's the exact same thing. But with damage coming off.
Lifesteal with that item seems pretty good.
Pretty good. Yep. Lots of passive procs. And then a really big one here in Blink. We've got one more thing I want to talk about after Blink that hopefully I don't forget, but I might. So I'm sure you saw a lot of the discussion. We talked about it on the podcast. Combat Blink, being able to use it in the middle of firing abilities like Chalk Alt or anything. What that does to the balance of the game, how the game plays. And I can tell you, we lost like multiple afternoons to debating this among the team. Because it just has so many branching effects to how we would do god design and like all this kind of stuff. We're not planting our flag and saying this is how Blink is working for the rest of time. This is just our iteration. Let's see how it feels and what our feedback is. But I'm really excited about where we landed, because this is my favorite solution for the time being that I think makes the most sense. You can no longer use it in combat. Just like Smite 1, if you've dealt or taken damage in the last 3 seconds, it's locked. But if you haven't taken or dealt damage in the last 3 seconds, you can use it in the middle of anything. So, including your Chalk Alt, your mural, whatever it may be, there are still a lot of effects issues that we need to work out and bugs that we're going to need to get to. But if you coming out of the jungle and you can pre-charge your Chalk Alt and then blink and slam all at once, that's great. But now you can't do it with no counterplay. You can't do it in the enemy's face. They can put you in combat, all that kind of stuff. In my opinion, this preserves the coolest feeling moments and the flashiest moments for the player, but also provides the most counterplay on the opposite end. So it feels like the best of both worlds. Now, it might not play out that way, but I think it's felt pretty good in playtesting. When you read this, Barra, how does this sound to you?
It sounds really balanced. Since you can still charge up things, you just can't use it mid-fight.
Mm-hmm.
Because being able to use it mid-fight just makes your backliner perspective just so much scarier the entire time. Because even if your front line's engaging, you can still kind of feel that threat on you. Kind of at any point, if that frontliner just... If he's charging Chockle and he just wants to blink on me and ult me, or while he's ulting, if he just wants to change where he is and blink on me, then my counterplay is just kind of like non-existent. Even
Mm-hmm.
though I feel like I'm playing the situation right because I'm in the fight, spaced away. Um, but this helps comp out a lot. Because good comp players, you're always talking about blinks. You're always talking about keeping X or Y or Z in combat, so they can't use that to get on me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that giving this counterplay as a backliner or a frontliner helping out your backliners will feel really good. And then it kind of has the extra flavor of still being able to charge up abilities and nuke somebody, which I think that's fun. But I think giving it that counterplay option for having to take damage or deal damage is really good.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still, I blinked over a jungle wall, like pre-charging a chalk ult. Can still do that, right? You can still find these really sick ambush angles. You can still do it in a bush and start channeling in a bush. It'll reveal you, but you might be far enough away, like that you can make it happen. We'll see what players think. Just that simple. Maybe this is a middle ground that isn't worth going for, and we should either fully appease the Flash proponents, trying to make it just like League's Flash, or fully take it away so that it feels just like Smite 1. Maybe this middle ground doesn't work. Maybe it's perfect. Who knows? But I'm very happy with where we are for this alpha with Blink. And I do think it's a very complicated and difficult decision to make, and I'm very happy with where we've landed for the time being. So we'll see how it feels. Lots of other item reworks, but the one I wanted to get your immediate thoughts on as an ADC player is Chins. Chins was the best item in the game in Alpha 1. It was not close. It just did 1 billion damage. Bruisers were going it. Everyone was going it. Significant rework. The passive is now, enemy gods hit by your basic attacks take 20 plus 10% of their max HP from items as bonus physical damage. So you're always getting the 20, but if you're hitting a squishy who presumably has no max HP from items, all it does is do 20. But
20 flat?
20 flat. Yep.
Okay.
On tanks, who are building max HP from items, 10% of their max HP from items is a big number. A very big number. So, better against tanks that are building max HP. Significantly worse against squishies. Like, unbuyable if they've got, in a theoretical world where they've got no tanks and no one's building HP, this would be a terrible item for your efficiency. How does that hit your ear as an ADC player, Barra, this direction for Chins?
What does it mean from items? Can you explain that a little
Yeah,
more?
so base HP is not factored in. So it doesn't care about your base HP at all. But if you've built a 300 health item, it's now going to deal 20 plus 30 because that's 10% of 300.
I was misunderstanding that as your own items.
No, their items.
Yeah, no, that makes
no, their items. That would be a bonkers item right there.
Yeah, I was like, so if I build Crusher, it's just proccing Crusher?
No.
10% of their max HP for the credit, and I was like trying to do all this math in my head. Yeah, that sounds pretty good because I don't think kin should ever be a squishy killing item. Um, I
In its
think it's
base stats,
just
by the way, I don't remember exactly what they are off the top of my head, but they are abysmal. Like they are really
yeah.
bad.
It's Kins, in my opinion, should just be slotted in to kill tanks. It should be your tank killing item. I build this and I deal decent damage against tanks. The item historically has always ran into the issues of if it can be built like third,
Yep.
like after boots devos, you go Kins. If that's your most efficient build, then in my opinion, the item is overstat or like too strong.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if it's like a fourth or fifth item, you see their tanks building a lot of HP now. I think that's where the item should be balanced and where it should feel good. Um, yeah, I like this. I like this a lot.
I'm realizing as you're saying that I don't know if I had time to update the auto build order, and you definitely might be building Chin's third in some auto builds.
Oh no.
Whoops.
You
Well,
knew it was OP.
I knew it was OP. I mean, I think
You
I
knew it
had it
was
like
OP.
second in some builds. Like,
Yep.
so sorry if that
And
happens
you
to you.
knew.
Um, a chatter says, doesn't this just make Chins useless? If Chins is good, tanks just won't build HP items. I mean,
I think HP is too good of a stat to not build on tanks.
yeah, I mean, it's just so core. And, like, all of their items almost. There are a few, like, Bagwa's Mirror doesn't have any HP, but the pen, percent pen is so strong that you can't really build just prots no HP. Because percent pen can, things like Totem of Death are like 66% pen or something like that. Um, I'm sure tank players read this and are like terrified. It is really important to note that this is bonus physical damage. So that gets mitigated by your prots.
Mm.
I don't think that ADCs can build just this and no percent pen. I think they will need to buy Chins plus Xe or Serpent's Fang or something like that in order to deal a ton of damage to tanks, which are both Chins and Xe are both expensive items that have very poor base stats but very strong passives. So I think it is we are asking damage. We're asking all classes. Well, not classes because there are no classes. Smile. We're asking all archetypes of players to make more intentional trade-offs with their build than we did in Smite 1. And we expect to get pushback on this because players are used to having 30% pen, 40% CDR, 800 power in their mage builds. And for ADCs expect to be able to hit 2.3 attack speed, 30% pen plus Chins, or 2.5 attack speed, crit, 30% pen.
Mm-hmm.
Tanks are used to having 4k HP, max prots in one, 270 in the other, and some cooldown.
And still complaining about dying.
And still complaining about dying. And they're right to, because the prot formula does not benefit you hitting cap. And that's bothered me forever. That is what players are used to coming from Smite 1, and we don't think that is sustainable or good in Smite 2. And we are we're putting players on a stat diet, We're saying you can have you can have more pen than you could ever have in Smite 1. You're going to have no power on that item. Like Totem of Death is a 15 intelligence item. You can have 40% lifesteal with no AoE coefficient on your abilities for 2,700 gold, but you're getting no power. You can do 1 billion damage to tanks who build max HP from items, but it's gonna cost you a slot that you're gonna notice your DPS dip on squishies. I'm surprised we didn't get more pushback on these strong effects in Alpha Weekend 1. I think it's inevitable that players will expect to get back to the power levels that they had in Smite 1, in Smite 2. And as we just said, in a lot of ways, I think Smite 2's effects are significantly stronger than they were in Smite 1. Kits are stronger, items are stronger, but they're more intentional and they're more narrow. So if you will have to give something up, you will have less attack speed in a build, or you will have less damage to squishies or to tanks. But you will crush the area that you're focusing, and then that opens up an opportunity to get counter built by that player, and then you have to adjust. And that's where I think a lot of the MOBA complexity and fun really comes in. So yeah, is it possible that Chins plus XE invalidates tanks? Maybe, but in that scenario, if it does, then hopefully that hunter is incapable of winning a 1v1 against your backline, because they haven't built that, and they've built, more traditional damage items, and you might get chewed through, but then they get one tapped by your ADC, Again, that's the dream, that's the hope. We're going to have to wait and see, but that is the intent, I would say. That these effects should make your eyes do the Looney Tunes, like Bugs Bunny, whoa, what is that? But with a trade-off.
Yeah, I'm excited to test this stuff out to see if I can iron out builds to feel like a forced meta build, or if it feels like I need to build more one-dimensionally.
Yep.
Then I'll let you know.
I'm excited to hear it. All right, time for the random question of the week. I did forget to ping our Discord because I'm bad at my job. But sometimes that's how it be. We did have one from the Genre Savvy in chat asking, what stays on your nightstand permanently?
Water that I just got that I did not drink.
That's it? Nothing else?
Yeah. I mean, I have medicines on there, but I don't take them.
Okay.
But that sounds really bad. It's like sleeping medicine that I've tried when I had insomnia really bad. I was trying the whole laundry list of medicines, and none of them worked. Until I found something that did. But that is going on the in the kitchen for some reason, where I take my nightly medications in the kitchen and then I go to sleep.
Okay, yeah, Seafog's right here. This was my question. No lamp?
The lamp is like a
It's a floor lamp?
Yeah, it goes from the floor. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a 6-foot tall lamp, and it's in the corner of the room, and we just turn it on when we need it. But I feel like lamps are like an old person thing.
In what way?
Because if you need light, you just hit your phone.
Yeah,
and
what
then
if
you
you
just turn the phone light over?
Yeah, but then you have to have your hand on the phone. Surely having a lamp is nice sometimes.
Do you not know where your phone is?
No, I do. I feel like you glossed over the part where you have to hold your phone, but you don't have to hold a lamp for it to be light where you want it. The whole point of a lamp is that you turn it on and leave it, and your hands are free.
You don't have to hold a lamp. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm getting loopy.
No, I'm with you on that. Yeah, that's crazy that you don't have a lamp on there.
Yeah, I lamps are a value thing here. Destiny reads on her Kindle or on her phone, and then when I go to sleep, I put my phone down, and then if I need light, I pick up my phone, and then find the way to the bathroom with my phone.
Do you have a phone charger on your nightstand?
Yeah. Well, it's plugged into the wall, and I leave my phone on the floor instead of my nightstand.
So that you don't grab it or whatever?
Yeah, it's less tempting, and then also if it vibrates at any point, it's louder on the nightstand, and I don't want to get woken up by it, getting a notification of email or anything. I don't want to be woken up by it, so we have carpet in our bedroom, so if it vibrates on the floor, I just don't hear it, and I don't wake up until my alarm anyways. Seafog says he reads in bed. I cannot read.
You're just illiterate.
I'm illiterate, and that's why I don't have a lamp.
Oh, well, you don't have to, there's no instructions you need to read really on a lamp. I feel like a lamp is one of the few things you could use to its full potential being illiterate. But, maybe you missed the instructions or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've got a lamp because I'm a normal person.
What do you mean?
Bro, there is no way I'll put out a poll on Twitter right after this if you want me to. Do you have a lamp on your nightstand? Yes or no? I'm going way more than 50% of people have a lamp on their nightstand.
That's just a rich person thing.
No, it is not, man. No, it is not. That is a normal person thing. What are you talking about?
Look, man, I'm glad you can afford light, but some of us can't.
Listen, man, are we feeling bad for you because you're poor or because you're illiterate? You gotta pick one, you know? I guess they are kind of related, but like...
I have multiple struggles in my life, I'll have you know.
Yeah, hey, retweet on that, brother.
I got dropped last year.
It's because you couldn't read, man.
Every patch notes discussion, they were like, Barrow, what do you think? And I'm like, I don't know, I can't read.
Yeah, I don't know. You tell me. You're like, we haven't done podcast yet. Agro hasn't explained it yet.
Those Mondays were rough.
Yeah, I'll say. Yeah, I've got a lamp on my nightstand. I have a charger, like a little charging station where I can put my watch and my AirPods and my phone, but my phone has a case on it that doesn't really work. So I just plug it in. I've got Joe found these little like wire holders that go on the side, that stick to the side of the nightstand. So I put my charger in that, so I don't have to like reach to the ground every day. It's the best. Put my phone on there when I go to sleep. These days I've always got like a binky on there and like a little toy for Calvin or something like that.
Oh.
Just for when he's like hanging out with us. I think I've got a little photo of a like postcard that my grandma gave me from when she went to New Orleans when she was younger. She heard that I was going to New Orleans to play in MLG New Orleans back in season 2, and gave me the thing that she got in New Orleans, which I thought was very sweet. And we have that framed, and I think that sits on my nightstand. I think that's it. Sometimes, some cups that I haven't taken downstairs or fresh water. But I don't know. I'm not always great at bringing up a fresh one. Isn't it the worst when you're really thirsty and you're so thirsty that you're going to drink that water cup that's been sitting there for like 3 days? And it's just going to have that old water taste to it. But it's better than being so thirsty that you're like dying, so you just like do it. But it tastes so bad.
Honestly, I think it's not better. Because I've tried that. I've hit that point where you wake up and it's like, you haven't had water in 3 days.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I got a water kind of recently. You take the first sip of that and it's just like the oldest tasting water you've ever had. And
so
you
gross.
swallow it down and you're like, okay, I just gotta go get fresh water. And then you go to the kitchen, you get your water and you chug like 24 ounces of ice cold water, and it's the most refreshing thing that's ever hit your throat. Like, ever.
That is good stuff.
So nice.
That is really good stuff. I do.
Well, unless it's too cold, and then you can't drink enough, and then that's when...
Then it kind of like hurts a little bit.
Yeah.
Or gives you a little bellyache. Yeah. But, God, water is so nice. I'm going to take a quick drink right now.
Rich people things.
Brand new water that I just got before the show. That's good stuff.
I left my water in the living room, man.
Tough. That's tough for you.
I know.
All right, that's gonna do it for this week's episode. Again, shout out to Prize Picks, PrizePicks.com. Use code Backliners for deposit match. As I stated at the beginning of the episode, we're gonna be going on hiatus while I get ready to move. Next time you see the cam here, it's gonna be in a different spot. But appreciate all the understanding and support. Everyone has been very kind about, the lack of our content that is soon to be happening. Again, feel free, if you want to stay in touch more closely, patreon.com/backliners is going to be the best place for you to go. But we will be pausing new subscriptions and current subscriptions in a week or so. Just in, good man effort. And then we'll be back in July, I imagine, for some stuff, for some podcast goodness there. So be well, be safe, and we'll see you guys in a little bit. Bear, this is kind of a big buy. This is going to last for a month, not to put too much pressure on you. But I was just thinking, maybe you should, get up, get in gamer pose a little bit here.
No water, just
no water.
dry throat.
You could have said the other thing you were gonna say, but dry throat's fine.
I wasn't going to.
I almost did, but then thought better of it. Okay, until next time, Barra, you know what to do.
Bye.
Yeah, you didn't let the moment get too big there. You didn't
really good.
You didn't go too like. I was a little worried that I got you too amped up, and you're gonna try and hit a really long one or really loud. But I really liked how you just stayed at home and you just delivered a really solid effort. Didn't let the moment get the best of you. That's a veteran move from you.
And that's without a lamp too.
Wow! Imagine the power if you could read.